Alex, welcome to the show.
Thank you. So good to see you.
It's good to see you as well. What's been happening with you in the last few years?
Last few years, well, of course, 2019, I think it was, or 2020, I was dead on the bed with COVID.
Okay.
But
like a lot of people, unfortunately.
Yeah, God was good. Raised me back up again, so I must have some kind of purpose. I don't know.
Okay. Okay. Absolutely, you do. Indeed. Indeed. What was that experience like for you?
That was intense. I really wasn't so much for myself, because the minute that they actually admitted me, he said, well, yeah, you tested positive. We're going to put you under, so you're going to be in a coma, and we're going to put you on a respirator.
Is that what they did?
That's what they did. I was the longest survivor out of Pomerado Health throughout, with 3 weeks on a respirator.
Okay.
So that was pretty severe. I was tripping the whole time because I was a fentanyl-induced coma.
Right.
And I almost remember all my dreams throughout that. But it was excellent because there were people all over the world praying for me. Liz had contacted all my music friends, all of my school alumni, and all of my church friends and other friends. And so I had like 4 different groups that were just putting out the word, hey, Alex is down, and it's not going good. You need to pray.
Yeah, a lot of us had heard about that and definitely had you in prayer, but heck, you pulled through it.
Yeah,
pulled through it.
Really wasn't anything I did. I was out of it until I came to.
Right. Well, tell us a little bit about you in general. You're an amazing musician, vocalist, guitarist.
Oh, thank you.
We know you have influences that go from jazz to rock to R&B to blues. But where did it all start for you?
Really, ever since I saw Ricky Nelson and the Everly Brothers, I thought I'd play guitar and sing. So the influences, as I was a little bit older, after I started playing electric guitar when I was in high school, that was probably between Larry Carlton, Eric Clapton, Jeff Beck, and Lee Ritenour. Those were mostly my influences. It's funny because that goes between rock to jazz, blues to funk, gospel, whatever.
Yeah.
It was just, that was the thing. And it was cool. I enjoyed it.
Awesome. Awesome. As a musician yourself in general, why did you gravitate to the guitar? I mean, was somebody sort of priming you for that, or how did that all happen?
No, childhood, that was the thing. I saw the guitar, through the 60s, right on through, but guitar I liked. I learned how to play keyboard because of theory. I play the bass, but it's like, that is more of my, groove style. Who was it? One of our sax players says, Alex, you're a different kind of guitar player altogether. I really like your style. He says, you play like a horn player. And he goes, you hit it and quit it. Da-da, da-da, and I say, yeah, that's what my feel is for it. I don't want to overload the music, give the music a chance to breathe. As Miles Davis says, there's nothing so important as a rest, or knowing when to play and when not to play.
Very true. Very, 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 very true. And that's a great quote. Miles has a few things in common with another figure of that era, Carlos Santana. Would you say you influenced any by his work?
I love Carlos Santana's work. Actually, to me, Carlos isn't that intricate, but he's flavor. And so I enjoy that flavor of what he's doing with the Latin stuff. The ones that really impressed me with that type of style would be more like the brothers, the 3 brothers, Los Lonely Boys.
Okay.
Out of Texas.
Okay.
And great style. Excellent vocals because they use that harmony of that 4th, which is like the Beatles harmony.
Right, right.
3 guys and sounds fantastic, fat, full, it's great.
It is, yeah, that's a great band and some good stuff that they did. Probably more in the I would say if it's a fair term to use, they peaked around the mid '90s, roughly.
Yeah, well, their big hit was Heaven, but all of their other stuff was more flavorful to me. And then they did 1969, which is covering the classics.
Right.
They're there with, whether you want to say Stevie Winwood, they covered the Beatles, they covered Santana, they covered the Doors. It was like, wow, you know, it was 1969 is the name of that album for Los Lonely Boys. But, you know, you have to check it out, give you a lot of flavor. We do a couple other cuts with the Oye Mamacita, which is just a real funky groove.
Cool tune. Alex, are you from a musical family?
My mother used to sing on the radio back in Texas.
Okay. Are you originally from Texas?
I'm a native San Diegan.
Okay.
I'm born and raised here. Probably conceived in Texas because that's my roots.
There you go.
But I'm the only native San Diegan out of my family. Everybody else was born in Texas.
Okay. Awesome. Musically speaking, once again, you are more known for doing, I guess, sort of a live thing as opposed to a studio situation. Is that by choice, or how is it that sort of worked that way?
I think I enjoyed working with people and playing for a crowd. The local scene here, unless you're doing corporate gigs or weddings, which that's all I do now, as opposed to doing the bar gigs. Bar gigs, it's a lot of fun, but there's no money that way.
Sure.
I made more as a teenager playing live than I did as an adult playing. But when you do the corporate gigs, that's what really pays. But then it's more work because you have to, okay, they want this type of venue. You have to interject. Corporate gig, you're playing country, funk, jazz, blues, put the whole realm in there because you have to fit the whole
You've got to deliver
crowd
to the client what they're paying for, basically.
That's right. So it's different.
Okay.
But I would say that just, you know, I enjoyed playing for people. I had, at one time, 4 different Best Damn Jams. That's part of my thing going. The Best Damn Jam incorporates, we have a startup band which covers the main instruments. Then we give like 15 minutes to each, or 3 songs per round robin of musicians that would come out. We'd have a lot of people coming out. Well, you helped us out at that.
Yes, I did. Thank you. Yeah.
But it was something that was very enjoyable. I did well with those. We had like 4 going at one time all throughout the county, and then we'd play on the weekends. And it was a good networking group of musicians. That's how we got popular with the San Diego Musicians Group.
Right. Well, I recall, you know, when first coming to the area for myself, a lot of people said, "Oh, you should connect with Alex. You should connect with Alex." And at the time, there was a place called the Jumping Turtle.
Yeah.
I believe someone had steered me in that direction to connect with you, and someone, I'm not really sure, another musician sort of had put us together for that. But yeah, you're definitely known for that sort of thing, and I'm definitely an advocate of doing more of a residency as opposed to like going from club to club to club, which it actually can be lucrative depending on the situation. But in general, the resident to be more efficient.
Yeah.
And it's worked for me, so obviously worked for you. But with that said, you sort of took a little bit of an absence even before the pandemic. Why is that?
Just things were not. I think, and I could be wrong. You know, I think a lot of owners, I start to look my age with all this blonde hair, and I think they stop calling you because they want a younger, fresher crowd, and that's all good and fine. We've had our sets with like Old Venice and other places that were more consistent. We had them dancing in the streets, so that was different. But sometimes the one who told me that was my old drummer, Greg Miller. Greg Miller, fantastic drummer, pipes like you wouldn't believe. I mean, this guy could sing and play. But, you know, he said, man, I think we're getting where, you know, we start to look old. They don't want to hire us. Could be an issue. Not always the case, but in some cases, that tends to slow it down. That's my feel.
Okay, gotcha. Alex, what is next for you? So, you know, we know you've come through a lot of challenges. You know, the whole world has come through a lot of challenges. You know, musically, you've got these influences from jazz, rock, and R&B. Doing more of a live thing tends to work better for you. But what would you say is more or less in the future for you musically?
That's an interesting question because I don't know what the future holds. But you know, I appreciate.
Are you working on any particular projects?
Do a lot of, privately, I do a lot of song originals.
Originals privately, okay.
Privately to develop mine. For the first time, I was playing for some old hippies at a retirement home, which I laugh about it now, but I think, you know, like all those people through that time, you know, they were, you know, like one generation ahead of me. You go over to the retirement home, they don't want to hear that stuff. They want to hear some old school rock and roll, and it was funny. So that was one interesting thing, and I did that as a solo thing. But I'm just now starting to do solo work, wineries, and then I've done a few weddings and a couple of retirement parties. So it's more of the private sector rather than the public bar hopping scene.
Okay.
That's it.
Awesome.
And what I plan on doing with that, I don't know. Who knows? Possibly, Liz and I getting close to retirement. I was thinking that, you know, would do some of the trip between Nashville, Texas, Graceland, and all of that area back in there, and work my way back and see if anything happens. But you know, I'm connected with what is it? Blues Hall of Fame through I can't remember his name right now. Brought that to my birthday party a long time ago.
Okay.
When we were out
No problem.
But connected with other ones with Las Vegas Blues Society.
So you've definitely got those blues roots.
Yeah, and that's fun. And really, blues is the basis for your rock, your rhythm and blues. You tend to, when you get more of the soulful stuff, I really like that because I like soul and funk over just straight up blues. Some people who are purists, they kind of shun on that, but I don't care. You know, look, don't label me as a blues musician, rock musician, jazz musician. Label me as a musician.
Sure. Okay, so as a musician, we know that there are integral skills that go with musicianship, you know, and it's a little bit different depending on who you're asking. Like some of us are more into reading and writing or transcription, and others are more into that live experience. But in a working situation, sometimes things don't always go right. Can you give us an example of a time where things really went south, and how did you deal with it?
Well, you got to let people be themselves. Sometimes, you know, you expect a certain groove or a certain rhythm, and when you're not gelled or you didn't practice it and it doesn't come out that way, you gotta. It's not about how good you are; it's about how well you play with others.
Okay.
And you have to meld that into it. So it's a matter of pulling it together and say, okay, this was supposed to be you know, a double shuffle. Now we're doing it as a broken wagon wheel.
Okay.
Just stay with it. Let's do it. Get through it.
So kind of grin and bear it and just kind of get through
it. You
it.
have to adapt.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Are you keeping up with any of the current events that are happening in Europe? And if so, what are your opinions on that?
No, I don't like to get into a lot of that.
Okay.
Between politics and religion, never going to come together that way. I have a strong faith in God. I have a thankful, a good community that backs me up. That's one thing that I'd like to see is more of a flavorful gospel.
Okay.
I think a lot of the gospel that's come to date, it's kind of Jesus is my boyfriend type stuff, which is a little off kilter for me. You know, I'm not everybody. However, you know, I look to that more soulful gospel, something with flavor and punch. Because otherwise, it's like singing a song that there's no fist in the glove. It's not there. But that's just my opinion.
Sure.
Everybody has their opinion.
Sure. What would you say about the situation lately with some of the artists like Kanye West that have such a powerful influence over the people that are around him. In other words, there's an issue with his ex, Kim Kardashian, and the third person that's sort of come into the picture, Pete Davidson from Saturday Night Live. And apparently some of his latest work, music videos, are sort of a little bit on the dark side, and a lot of people think that that could influence someone to do something maybe not the best choices, maybe do something that might be harmful to that other person. So in other words, as an artist, do you think there's a responsibility, regardless of your personal feelings or personal relationships, to, I guess, keep that out of your music, or is art just open for anything?
Well, that's a good question. I think we should be able to express everything.
Okay.
I think America is based on that if you can't say the way you feel, then where is our freedom of expression?
Right.
And so that's important. However, if it's something that we don't like or we don't see as positive, maybe we just need to turn the channel.
Okay.
But, I mean, I see things both good and bad on the Kanye story. I don't know that it really affects me because that's not really my genre or influence.
Right.
However, to somebody that would be influenced by that, and to a negative sense, say always look for the best in things. Always look for a positive. I mean, life's too short to worry about.
Absolutely. Alex, I don't know if you've ever had students, but what would you say to a young person that's aspiring to just, really sink their teeth into the music business, whether it's local or national or international? What would you say to them? Some words of wisdom, sort of getting them sort of elevate their game. Best practices, if you will.
Okay. Well, yeah, always, develop your talent to who you are and make it your own.
Okay.
Number two, be positive. Try to stay away from negativity. Nobody is the one that got you. Time and chance happens to everyone. I mean, excellent example. Look where you came from. I mean, I was impressed. You worked with George Duke. That was incredible. I loved George Duke as a teenager. But the thing of it is that time and chance happens to everybody. Be positive. Work well with what you to shine, and then just be a light when it comes your chance on a platform, because that's the only thing that's going to separate you from anybody else.
Be ready.
Yeah, be ready.
Awesome. Alex, we appreciate you coming out. We appreciate your words of wisdom, and it's blessings to you and your musical journey.
Okay, God bless, man.